Diary of a mid-30s girly.
It feels like everywhere I look, people are talking about AI. When I'm on YouTube, it's all use AI for this, automate your life with this person. If, however, you're on my Substack notes feed, there is lots and lots and lots of shame if you involve it at all in any kind of art or content creation. So I want to talk about that today and the life-changing realization I had this week, which is that while my ADHD is not like magically not a problem in my life, I think it actually might be, in the age of AI, a freaking superpower if you know how to leverage it right. So with all that out of the way, welcome to Diary of a Mid-30s Girly. I am your host, Danielle, and today's episode is a freaking doozy. Let's get into it. I've been spending a lot of time on Substack notes, and the vibes over there are very different. Okay, very different. I'll insert a screenshot of this tweet if I can find it, but basically it was something along the lines of like, I want AI to automate my dishes and laundry so I have more time to do my writing, not have AI do my writing so I can spend more time with dishes and laundry. Now, the first time I read this, I was like, amen, sister, but actually as time has gone on, my mind has changed a little bit, and we'll dive into that in a second. Going back to my feed, she's not the only one. I get it. I really do. But I recently had my own experience where I was like, oh man, I think I need to reconsider. Like a lot of people, when I first heard about Chat GPT, I was like, wow, cool, all right. I asked Chat to go through this messy, like brain dump first draft script. And I'm like, hey, can you kind of organize this for me? It went through and it cleaned it up. And I was like, okay, but I wasn't like blown away. And I don't know if that's a common early experience, but for example, the earliest one that I haven't deleted says, hello, that's wonderful to hear. Writing a book can be a fulfilling and creative endeavor. Okay, so you get the vibes. Long story short, I kind of forgot about it. Then about a week or two ago, I decided it was time for me to relaunch my Substack. Sidebar, I've just been having issues with YouTube, and I know this is my own fault, but I also frequently get comments from you guys like, why didn't I even get a notification for this? That's been really frustrating for me, and so I really hope you guys will join me on Substack. I'm using that as a place to consolidate all tips, tricks, resources. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So when I first heard of Substack and launched it last year, I set it up under the Colada College of GYLT, getting your life together. And I tried really hard to make my Substack homepage look like a college admissions website, but you're going to school to learn how to get your shit together kind of vibe. Not that that wasn't cute and fun. I just don't think it was clear enough. So I decided to rebrand it to ADHD Girly. I don't think it gets much more straightforward than that. Now, when I was in the middle of that rebrand, I also felt like I had to send an email update to my current subscribers to kind of let them know. But what had happened was that in the flurry of activity and all the things I had going on that time, I didn't sit down at my laptop to write that newsletter. I was writing it on the go. You know how on iPhones you have the dictation feature? So that's what I was using. And suddenly light bulb goes off. I'm like, oh wait, Chat GPT is really good at that. So I log in after who knows how long, copy paste that dictation into Chat GPT, and I just give it the most basic instructions. Format it for me, remove any redundancies, fix typos obviously, but keep my voice. So I do that, thinking it's going to be fine and save me some time. But when it came back out, I was like, whoa. It actually blew my frickin' mind. I am not even going to lie to you. These are my words. This is what I said. And all this happened like that. So that's when I was like, okay, wait. Maybe this could be great. Maybe this could be life-changing, in fact. That way you're not chained to your desk, which is just such a hard thing for any ADHD, honestly anyone, but especially if you have ADHD, right? It just never occurred to me that I could continue to write with my voice. And after the fact, I wouldn't have to go in and manually do the editing and the rearranging and stuff myself. I could outsource that to this program. This is actually the perfect time for me to really be discovering how powerful Chat GPT is. And by the way, I think most of us have only scratched the surface. And up until recently, I definitely had only scratched the surface. I am in deep now. I am in deep. When I say Chat GPT made me cry recently, many times, that's a thing. Oh my God, it's been helping me get my whole life together. But let me save that for another episode. So I sent out that newsletter the first time I had ever actually put something out into the world that I used AI to help me create. That's when I think I really started to see, even more than usual, the discourse around how AI in the arts is cheating. My first instinct was you judgmental but no, I'm joking when I say that, because I was kind of the same way. I remember thinking early on, dang, if you can just write newsletters with AI, what would stop anyone from having a completely AI generated newsletter and then profiting off that? Now, I think this is a distorted way of thinking. But yeah, I started seeing a lot of people suggesting that if you need help from AI, maybe you're not really a real writer, or really cut out for this, or things like that. I get it, but I think you're wrong. There is a stark difference between, oh, I don't have any ideas, just spit something out for me. That is very different from what I think a very common ADHD experience is. And honestly, I think all creatives actually experience this, but I know you do a lot if you have ADHD. Sometimes I'll get an idea, whether it's for a script or a newsletter or whatever, and it feels like a divine download the way it's right? It always strikes at the most inopportune moment, while I'm driving, while I'm cooking, while I'm sitting on the toilet, or maybe I just look ugly and I would film this, but my hair is too greasy. I'm just okay, this is a great idea, but I'm not putting myself on camera right now. It's always just the most inopportune moment. But if I get out my voice recorder and I channel it and I lay it the out, and it's pretty much fully formed, and then I give that to Chat GPT, and then it's not even you post from there. You still go back and make sure no, I wouldn't say this. No, this isn't me. Do you get what I'm saying? There's this rule in productivity. Is it a productivity rule? Maybe it's more of a business rule. It's a being productive in business rule, I guess. And it's how I'm pretty sure Steve Jobs operated, and it's called 10-80-10 or something like that. And the whole idea is he gets this idea for I want you to have all the songs that you want in one tiny, make me an iPod, right? So there he is, the first 10%, the initial idea, the design, the thoughts, the magic. And then he passes it off to his team of engineers, developers, or whatever. And then they make it happen. They get it 80% of the way, and they follow his instructions and his guidance and his vision and all that stuff. And then he comes in at the end for the final 10% to be okay, great job, guys, but fix this, change this, little tweak here, little tweak there, and then it's ready to ship. That's much more similar to how I use Chat GPT, except it feels more 80, I get it 80% of the way there. I pass it off for Chat GPT to do a little polishing and clean up the tedious stuff that I could do, but I hate doing, and is the reason that so many of my ideas usually die. Talk about that more in a second, and then I take it back and do the last 10%. I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry. That does not feel like cheating to me. What it does feel like is an answered prayer from God, okay? Because I've talked ad nauseum on this podcast about popcorn thoughts and how when you have ADHD, the thoughts are right? And that's the problem. It's not that you don't have ideas. It's that you're drowning in them. Neurotypicals don't really have this. They're having one thought at a time. So it's easy to focus and take something to the end. But it's just so hard when you have ADHD. You got to catch that spark while it's hot or it's gone. The hard part wasn't coming up with stuff to say. It was finding the time to get my butt in the seat and then finding the patience and focus to be okay, cut that sentence out, swap that word, maybe this should go here. You know what I mean? That is so tedious to me. And it's not where the joy in writing comes from. And I'm sure there are a lot of writers out there who enjoy that part, struggling over the page. That's not how that feels to me. The fun is in the initial creative spark when I'm like, wow, I have this idea. And you know what? That's like this. And this is the perfect metaphor for that. And that's kind of like this. And this is similar to that. And right? The initial is the fun part. It's where the magic is. It's when I'm the most excited to talk about something. And it's also when I believe in something the most. But by the time I finally get to sit down at my desk and my hands are free, not only has like the spark kind of died, but the doubt has crept in. You know what I mean? I'll feel like I have a great idea, a great tip, a great something that would help another person with ADHD. But if I don't get to ship it right then and there, and I have to go about my day, I have to finish shopping for groceries, I have to finish cleaning. Like by the time I finally get around to it, it's like, is this good? You know? And for me, that has always been hard to overcome. And that is why there exists, in my notion, a database full of content ideas with literally 700 plus ideas. Some of them are almost ready to go, but they never make it out of there because of my ADHD and my inability to sit button chair once the excitement is gone. So yeah, I don't feel like using Chat GPT in the way that I have described is cheating. But I guess you could say it feels like an unfair advantage if there are people that refuse to use it themselves. The newsletter that inspired this episode up now, if you want to go ahead and read that. I had that like sitting in my drafts ready to go. I was going to wait to post it until this sister podcast episode was ready. But then a writer that I follow posted like a video podcast with her and 2 people in her community and their thoughts about AI. And so I went and I got so excited that I commented first and then I listened after. I regret that because there's a lot of anti-AI sentiments in the podcast episode. What their thoughts were on what's the acceptable use of AI in the arts. Maybe AI doesn't do the writing for you, but it's okay if it does the research. Is it okay if you write it yourself, but you run it through Claude for like final edits the way that you would have an editor if you were like a professional writer or author, right? I ultimately commented on the podcast and being like, I think this is a little bit cheesy, but I think you have to use your heart. Like only you can like know like what's right for you. And yeah, I stand by that. I am pro using AI in the way that I have described because I'm starting to feel for one of the first times in my life like a finisher. I posted that newsletter yesterday. I posted another newsletter last week. Obviously, this is a very short streak to be like, I'm a finisher now. But I mean, if you've been a part of my audience for a long time, I know you know what I mean. It takes me a really, really, really long time to get things out. And I just don't feel like with this tool at my disposal, that's going to be the case anymore. I've always like generated ideas to the point that, like I said, I was drowning in them. Now I have a chance to capture them and bring them to completion very quickly. And again, some people might think like that's an unfair advantage, but the truth is it's available to everybody and for free, as long as you've, internet access. Is it cheating? Or are you really just like screwing over yourself by not using this tool? One thing that they talked about on the episode, and I do agree with, was that because AI is so prevalent these days, there would be a call for boutique writing. But the thing is, I think you can still achieve that boutique writing effect with AI if you're already a good writer. And I think that's kind of my thesis statement on this whole thing. In the Substack article that I was talking about, I kind of started off by being like, this whole new tech on the block panic that we're having is like, it's really nothing new. Every time something new comes around, people always are like, I don't know about this, but give it enough time. It turns out to be just fine. Examples, electric guitar. I had a suspicion that when the electric guitar was invented, people that played the acoustic guitar were going to be like, whoa, no. Like this is, it's not what guitar is. And I was right. But I don't think anyone in 2025 would argue that an electric guitar is like not a real instrument and like what you make with it is not real music, right? I look back even further, and apparently, like, when the piano came to France in the 17th century, it was hated by everyone who played the harpsichord. And the harpsichord, when it was first invented, was hated by everyone that played the lute. So, like, we do this. But the early adopters usually bring on something really cool. I feel like if someone were to hear the way that I actually use Chat GPT, like a 10 to 15% little push, just for speed's sake, really, near the end, if they were to hear that and say that, like, I'm not a real writer, I think I would look at that like someone who plays a live instrument really well, going up to like a producer who uses GarageBand being like, you don't make real music. Okay. Just because a song has been made completely in GarageBand or Logic or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not a great song. And whoever put that song together, I don't think that diminishes their talent. Because let me tell you right now, I can get on GarageBand, but I don't have the skills to put out something like Jack Antonoff, let's say, right? In the same way, I think the reason why I was so happy with that final output that ChatGPT gave me was because, like, I was the one that gave it great to work with. I am a good writer. I have the receipts. I know that. I say it with pride. So I don't feel bad because I know that that grasp of language, that like skill with words is actually mine. And those unique ideas are mine. But too many times, like I said, they die while they're on the operating table because I'm just like, So is it cheating to get help at the part that I suck at? Or is it just smart? What really matters is the end result and the means you're trying to achieve with that. At the end of the day, this podcast, it's about letting other women, they're also in their mid-30s, or maybe they're in their 40s, maybe they're in their 20s, but probably had a late ADHD diagnosis, probably still trying to figure out life, looking in the mirror and being like, oh my God, I'm in my mid-30s, but like feeling like you're 19 sometimes, like, right? Okay. Just like be completely honest about everything that I feel, everything that I deal with. And AI, ChatGPT, whatever, could never give me those experiences to talk about. So why does it matter if I am like, here is what I'm experiencing, and then I let ChatGPT take that and like put it into bullet points for me so I can read it? Not this episode, obviously, since I am winging this whole thing. But right? Same thing with ADHD Girly. If I were the kind of Substack newsletter where like I just want to be known for my incredible style, then yeah, probably having ChatGPT help at all would feel weird and like not aligned. Do I want you guys to think that I'm a good writer and like admire my creation? Yeah, okay, not gonna lie about that. But at the end of the day, it's not really about me. It's about like what I'm trying to make life better and easier for me when I've got this thing that makes basic things in life like so hard. But what good is it to come up with all those like ideas, tips, and tricks and then think to myself, that'd be really good. I should try this with everyone if I don't actually do it, right? If ChatGPT actually helps me get you the fucking goods and like get out of my own way, then what's the problem there? Also, like if you disclose that you use it, then I think it especially shouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean? Again, it's all about use, and I think it's all about heart. I don't have a problem telling you guys that I use it, and in fact, I'm proud. Anyway, I feel like I've hammered on this long enough. How long have I been filming? Oh, lordy. Okay. Most of us have brains that move a mile a minute. And that's always been such a problem because you can only do one thing at a time. And usually those things take a long time, right? So then ADHD becomes a hindrance because you can't get your brain to focus long enough. So you go around living your life having a bunch of half-finished tasks and you just constantly feel like you're spinning in circles, right? But we are getting to the point where you can think of a task or think of an idea and you can execute that almost instantly, which means the more ideas you have and the more things you can think about and get done, the better off you're going to be in the age of AI. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are going to argue that like, well, maybe life shouldn't be moving so quick. And I do get that. But I also think that as long as us humans like handle this correctly, it could be the kind of thing where like, you think, and you get it done, and you get it done, and you get it done. But because things are moving so quickly, you really do get back a lot of your free time. And what you do with that is your choice now. And maybe it is you want to keep working into the wee hours of the night, but maybe it's like you want to hang out with your kids. Be cleaning your bathroom while you just think of tasks or think of content ideas and just automate them. And you get what I'm saying, right? I feel like the future is going to belong to people like that. And the people that are going to struggle, unfortunately, are people who struggle to come up with creative ideas, right? What good is it to be able to execute at the speed of light if you've got to like sit in your chair for 5 hours? Like I don't have any content ideas. You know what I mean? And I want to bring back up that tweet that I mentioned at the beginning of this. I don't want AI to automate my writing. I want it to automate my laundry. Once again, I agreed 1,000% the first time I saw it. Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm bringing in little elements of my own spiritual journey, which is actually a lot of exploring my humanity. Don't get me wrong. If someone volunteered to start doing my dishes and my laundry for me, I would take it. But I've started to feel recently like actually, as much as I hate that stuff, maybe I need to start to learn to enjoy it, because what's more human than that? Like, what is more human than making your food and washing your clothes? Being a human and doing all that stuff is divine. Only now, while I'm doing that stuff, I get to like talk out loud and like write my stuff and like, instead of like whistle while I work, like work while I work, but like in a good way, you know? I don't know. I'm really excited about what the future holds. And this is foreign to me because usually I am very wary of new technologies and I'm normally a very late adopter. And in this case, I think I still kind of am. But I don't know, man. Finally having this tool at my disposal makes me feel like I have entered a new era in my life, personally, but also with and for you guys. So I'm really excited. Every video I'm like, I'm going to be more consistent, I promise. So I'm not going to say it this time. And hopefully you'll just get to see the notifications start coming more and more. Speaking of notifications, again, I will always love and appreciate YouTube. This is what started it all. But I really think Substack is something special. Not only the ability to have like written content, video content, podcasts. I think just being able to be in direct communication with you guys would be so nice. If you want one-on-one ADHD coaching, I have openings where you can literally just buy like an hour with me. Head on over to either daniellecolada.com or daniellecolada.store. You can find links for everything on both those places. If you haven't seen my Notion tour, which is not only a tour, but an explanation of the TOP method, you can watch that here. And if you're not really in the mood for a Notion deep dive, then I would suggest the latest episode of Diary of a Mid-30s Girly right here. All right, love you.